Alright, what's up YouTube? Pink Reaper here, back with another Pink Plays Pokemon. So this one's a little different. Unlike most, actually all of my other videos, rather than being a random, ladder match or anything like that, this is actually a replay from just, a random game between me and Glugia from the Discord. Sup, Glue? I know you're watching this game. Of course you are. I know you're watching this video. I originally made a joke about posting this as the next Pink Plays Pokemon in the Discord, but I didn't actually intend to do it. And to give a little backstory on this, I play with people from the Discord or whatever, friendlies and stuff like that. I was playing with Glue, some Gen 4 here. I was having a bad night. I was getting some bad RNG. Shit was not going my way. I'm talking like Celebi gets Celebi gets Thunderbolt para, full para into 3 more paras in a row so that it dies. Instead of being able to recover on any of those turns and not have to worry for the rest of the game about that. Because it can just switch out and lose the para. It was also a Celebi that had Earth Power against Magazone that definitely could have killed the Magazone, but oh well. Anyway. Lots of misses, lots of bad crits and things like that. I was having a bad night, and I got a little bit angry, probably more angry than I should have. Not at Glue in particular, because it's not his fault. I mean, it's Pokemon's fault, right? But like in my mind, I'm like, yo, let's just. If I'm getting haxed, I just have to play in a way that means I don't have to worry about getting haxed, right? So I load up my best team. This is the team I'd actually been laddering Gen 4 with. It's the team that got me all the way up to I think I was 15th on the ladder of Gen 4, which isn't saying much because again the ladder's pretty dead. Although I did play most people who were in the top 50, or a lot of people who were in the top 50 while getting up there. So I guess those people still play. I think I've probably ELO decayed since then. I've probably dropped to I don't know, 30, but whatever. So I loaded up this team, and I played way harder and way meaner than I probably should have against Glue. Glue afterwards said that it was insane to see the difference in skill between us, but I don't even know necessarily that I'd call it that big of a skill difference. It's more of an experience difference. I have played so much Gen 4, and I've played against so many people playing Gen 4 that I have that sort of experience to know how people play when they're on tilt and what they'll be doing in certain situations. Yeah, I probably played a little too hard against Glue, and I did do something very mean in this game, and twice actually, and I'll point it out when it happens. The other thing I should point out is Glue has definitely seen my team. He knows what's on my team, and I've definitely seen his team. I don't know if he remembered what team this was, because I hadn't played it a lot. He's seen it in replays, but I never really played it much against him. However, despite having seen his team a lot and having helped him make his team, I totally didn't realize which team he was playing until it was, very late in the game. We'll start here on turn 1 and just sort of explain that. So, he leads with Hippo here. Glue always leads with Hippo, on every one of his teams. So, I didn't even think, what team this could possibly be. I was okay, that's just Hippo. It's always the same Hippo. It's Slack Off, Roar, Rocks, Earthquake. It's the same Hippo I run on my teams that I run Hippo. I'm this is my Specs Starmie lead. I have, like I said, I know for a fact he's got something to switch into Specs Hydro Pump, because he has something on every one of his teams to switch into Specs Hydro Pump. I just didn't care. I know Glue as a player has a tendency to stay in with Hippo and try and get rocks up, even in situations where you might not necessarily want to. It's sort of it's like a no fear kind of play. When you're in this situation, you predict your opponent to predict, basically. He's not going to click Surf or anything like that here because he knows I'm going to switch out. Instead, he's going to click, you know, Thunderbolt to try and hit the thing that would switch in on you know, like my own Starmie or something like that. Glue does not do that though here. He switches out on the Hydro Pump, and I don't know why he did. He should have just stayed in. That's how my night had been going, because I always miss. So in comes Roserade. I remember the set. I don't remember exactly how he runs his Roserade at this point in the battle. I remember he runs Sleep Powder, and he's definitely going for Sleep Powder here. He has no reason not to. He knows I'm Choice Starmie, so he knows I'm stuck into a water move. Realistically, I could have Hydro Pumped here and tried to get a little damage on it. On what is definitely going to be a Sleep Powder, and then I can switch out because I have Natural Cure, but I was like, no, screw that. I don't want to. I'm like, I'm not playing that game right now. See, why would you even switch? Not like I'm gonna hit. So I switch into my own Hippo. I just throw it out. I'm like, I don't need this mon at all. Like, I don't. I doubled a Scissor here on what I was expecting to be either a Giga Drain or a Toxic Spikes. He goes for Giga. And then here's where my knowledge of his team plays in. I know he has Hidden Power Fire on this Roserade. Like, I remember him specifically saying he switched it to Hidden Power Fire on his Roserade. Now, the thing is, I still don't know what team this is, because he has Roserade and Hippo on, like, multiple teams. So I was like, whatever. So I switched to Starmie. I go on the HP Fire. Now, again, he knows I'm Choice Specs, and he knows I run Ice Beam, obviously. I weigh my options here. Like, my initial thought is I should, like, I weighed my options for going for Thunderbolt here, because I know he's not going to stay in. He knows I can kill his Roserade. And I know he's got, more than likely, he's got Starmie, because, again, that's another mon he likes running on a lot of his teams. He loves Starmie. The problem is, even if I kill Starmie, all that does is it lets Hippo come in for free and set up rocks. And I can't do anything about that once that happens. I have to switch out. And that's not what I want. I do not want rocks going up. So I go for my tech move. And in comes the Starmie. I go for Psychic, a move that will cover Roserade if it stays in, and it'll hit. Like, look at that. That did 37% to Starmie. That's a lot of damage. Now, again, I see leftovers, so I'm like, okay, this probably is Rapid Spin Recover Starmie. I know that he's run, like, Life Orb 3 attacks, or and I know he's run just leftovers 3 attacks offensive. But the fact that you know, that didn't, it would have done a little bit more if this wasn't max HP, and because he's running leftovers, I'm like, I don't think he's offensive. I think this is his non-offensive Starmie. The weird thing is, like, I know each Pokemon when he brings it in, but I still can't, when I'm playing this game, I couldn't remember what the team was. Like, if you put a Pokemon in front of me from his team, I will know what set it is, but I don't know what Pokemon are actually on the team somehow. I just blanked it, I guess. The other thing, I wasn't really, like, trying to focus on remembering what his team was. I was trying to focus on playing what the right moves would be. So he surfs here, telling me that he probably doesn't have T-Bolt. Even if he had T-Bolt, I don't know that it would have killed there, but I go for another Psychic here. This is where I do something really mean to him. So he can't stay in here if he doesn't have T-Bolt, because Surf won't kill me and he'll just lose Starmie. If he loses the Speed Tie, he won't even get any extra damage on me. So I know right here, right now, he's going to go to something that can take a Psychic. I know on a couple of his different teams, he runs a couple different mons that can deal with Psychic. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking T-Tar here. Like, I'm thinking he's going to go to T-Tar here and attempt to eat the Psychic and then Pursuit Trap me because he hates Starmie. That's the other thing I know about Glue's teams. Glue's teams all hate Starmie. He almost never makes a team that can deal well with Starmie, which is understandable. It's a hard mon to deal with. So I call out a double here, and he switches to a Weavile, which I did not expect at all. I'm like, I didn't even know he ran Weavile on any of his teams. But I doubled to Scissor on this turn. Because I was like, he's absolutely about to switch to something that wants to take a Psychic, and I was right. This is obviously incredibly bad for him. Weavile absolutely cannot deal with Scissor. Scissor is the #1 counter to Weavile, and it's what makes running Weavile so hard in OU. Despite the fact that it is actually a very good mon in current OU meta. So obviously here, I get the freest U-turn of my life. He can't, if he wants to stay in, whatever, he'll lose it. He goes to Hippo. I U-turn. This is the most obvious thing that can possibly happen. In comes Breloom. Now here's the other thing. I know he knows how I like to play Breloom, which is I like to sub on things that hate Breloom. Hippo hates Breloom. Hippo does not want to stay in on a Breloom. It'll die, right? But I know he knows I think that, so I go for Spore right off the bat. I'm like, he's going to try and get rocks up here on my sub or something like that, or Roar, and I'm not going to let that happen. So I just go right for the Spore, and then here's where things get like extra mean. I go immediately for Focus Punch on whatever's coming in. Part of that was I was expecting. Actually, I wasn't really expecting anything. Like in the moment. Like, in the moment, I was thinking, I was probably thinking, like, well, if he goes to, like, a fast U-turner on my sub, with something asleep, what's going to happen, like, this is my literal thought process, is, like, he's going to U-turn on the sub to break the sub, and then he's going to go into Roserade to eat the Focus Punch, despite the fact that, clearly, Roserade does not eat a Focus Punch. So I said the Scissor play was really mean, right? Okay. So that was not even close to the meanest thing I did here. So I don't know if Glue knows this, but I know this. The order in which a Pokemon is damaged by Sandstorm in Gen 4, if I remember correctly, it doesn't actually relate to the speed stat. I think that was only later. I think in Gen 4, both happen simultaneously. I can't remember, but either way, if it's not like that, then this is a speed tie. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. But I don't think it's a speed tie. I'm running 230 something speed. And I found out from him later he's running like 0 speed Roserade, which would put it at like 200, not even 200. I think it's like 180. Like 184, I think is what no speed Roserade is, or something like that. Like, but anyway, so this is really mean here. I called out that he's not going for Hidden Power Fire here. Like, he's currently in a situation where if I switch into Starmie, I can actually just click Surf, and anything that he has on his team that he's shown at least isn't gonna want to take it. It'll kill Starmie, it'll kill Roserade from where it's at. Obviously it would kill. I mean, I don't have Surf, I have Hydro Pump. Obviously it would kill Hippo. It would probably kill Weavile. So he can't. I understood that he's currently on tilt here. He's trying to think, what do I do to get myself an advantage? Because he's been at a disadvantage for the last few turns here. So obviously the thing to do here is try and hit Starmie, try and recover up a little bit of HP with Giga Drain, get rid of my Mon. I just went straight for Seed Bomb. He clicks Giga Drain. I'm glad I had actually been considering just clicking Sub. I was like, because I'm like, again, I know he's not going for. HP Fire here, but he ends up going for Giga Drain and dealing 26%, so it would have actually broken my sub. So now I'm okay. I'm like, all right, well, now I can just click Seed Bomb again. You're dead. 21%. And again, nothing here really wants to switch out to. This is the actual, like, probably the meanest turn right here. In this game, save the last turn. And I didn't even call it right is the problem. So this is really mean. This is the experience thing going into play again here. I again know that he's not going to go for an ice move here with Weavile. The big thing there is if he goes for an ice move and like if he goes for an ice move, I can get free switches into like whatever I want, right? I can go into free switch Scizor or something like that. I'm also playing off the fact that he may know what my team is. Because I have Gyarados and Latios in the back. Night Slash on Weavile is stronger against Gyarados than Ice Punch. And then as it turns out, as I found out later, he actually doesn't have Ice Punch. He has Ice Shard as his only Ice Stab. So in my mind, I'm just thinking this is like 4 attacks Weavile, Pursuit, Ice Punch, Ice Shard, Night Slash, or Pursuit, Ice Punch, Ice Shard, Low Kick, the 2 types of Weavile there really are. As it turns out, I'm wrong. That's not what Weavile this is. But in my mind, I'm like, there's no chance he's going for an ice move here. Unquestionably, he's gonna try and predict something, and he's gonna go for something that's not an ice punch. So I raw focus punch. Now the reason for this is I thought he was gonna switch. I thought he was gonna try and predict like Scizor, and get like a free switch into something in the back, like I don't know, like an Infernape, a Gyarados, like anything weird he might have in the back that would deal with Scizor. He doesn't. He ends up going for Night Slash and dealing 35% and breaking my focus, and he shows me that he's Life Orb. I find out after the game he actually had very heavily considered clicking Swords Dance right there, which would have been amazing for me. This was like such a deep call out, but it didn't happen. What I should have done is just gone for Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb was the smarter play. Seed Bomb could have hit everything that he currently has on his team. There was really no reason to go for Focus Punch in particular, but I was so ready to call out a double switch right there that I just wanted to make the biggest, flashiest play possible. It didn't happen. Broke my focus. So at this point, I double in. I switch out to Scizor just because I can. He goes for the Ice Shard. He gets a crit. Of course he does, but it doesn't matter. Again, I'm playing in a way where I don't really have to care about whether or not I'm getting crit. In comes Starmie. I just go straight for the Bullet Punch because I know it's going to one-hit KO Starmie, or if not one-hit KO, two-hit KO it, so it's not really like worth worrying about. And he can't go into Hippo because it's asleep. It's another free switch for Breloom. And this is, okay, so this is where I freak out because I was like, oh shit, it's this team. It's the team that has Empoleon. My team does okay against this set, but I have to absolutely make sure it cannot set up. I can't let it get both. I can't let it. So this is sub Pataya agility with Ice Beam and Surf. I cannot let it get set up. If it sets up fully, I lose. I do have like a pseudo check to it in the back, which is I have Scarf Latios with Thunderbolt, which absolutely will kill this when it's at 25%. But I have to make sure one, it either doesn't get two it doesn't get two agilities up, or it doesn't get an agility and a substitute at the same time. Because if it does, my team just folds. Like, it'll be faster than Starmie, it'll kill it from where it's at. It'll kill Scizor from where it's at. It'll kill Hippo, it'll kill Breloom, it'll kill Lottie, if it's got the sub up, or if it's got two agilities. And it'll maybe kill Gyarados. I wasn't thinking straight here. He doesn't actually have rocks up, so Gyarados actually would have survived. But that's just my thought process here. So I go directly into Starmie, because if he agilities here, he'll be faster than me, but then he's just sort of substituting to try and get Pataya Berry while I'm Thunderbolting, which will kill him otherwise, because this is choice Thunderbolt. I do not care if he goes into Hippo at this point. Like, I need to stop this. If he subs right here, I'll just break the sub on agility. It's no different. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot here. So he goes for raw agility on my switch, which is fine. The other thing I'm kind of worried about here is dying to Sandstorm, but I'm pretty sure I'm okay. I've got enough turns here. I should have 6 turns total, so I can just sort of, if I had a little bit less HP, this would have actually been very bad. So I Thunderbolt twice. I'm just like, I'm not letting you have the sub. I'm not letting you have another agility. He goes right for the Surf here, which realistically, like, I don't think he killed me when I first switched in, but he probably should have tried for it anyway, I think. This is modest max special attacks Empoleon, and this is no bulk Starmie. I'm max speed, max special attacks, timid. I was only at 37, I think, when I switched in. After the Stealth Rocks damage, at least. Or not Stealth Rocks, the Sandstorm damage. I think he may have been able to kill me with Surf. He may have been able to do the 37% and keep himself at 100% HP. I did have a play if he went for that, by the way. If he went for the immediate kill with Surf and he got it, I was going to go directly into Latios and I was just going to trick. Tricking Scarf onto it meant it couldn't really do anything at that point. It couldn't set up. I would have gotten the Pataya Berry too, so, you know, once I get to low HP, stronger. But, again, like, this Mon scared me when he brought it out. So he goes for the kill here. He get the Surf kill. I just, you know, straight into Lottie. Again, I don't really have to worry too much about him going to Hippo and T-Bolt because it's just a free switch for Loom. The worst thing that could happen is he wakes up and roars, or he doubles into, like, you know, Weavile at that point. But again, I, like, Scissors the ultimate check to Weavile. At this point, he's kind of out of answers for, like, what I have left on his team, because he has a Sleeping Hippo, a Weavile at 62%, and then whatever his last is, which again, at this point, I still don't know what it is somehow. Like, I've forgotten. So I go for T-Bolt just to get the damage. He goes for Night Slash. I'm assuming he thought that Life Orb, Ice Shard wouldn't kill. It actually probably wouldn't without rocks. So that was actually probably the right choice. It was just an unfortunate choice. And then because of the Sandstorm damage taking him down to 3%, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go into Gyarados. This is the freest Dragon Dance of my life. I click DD here. He dies to Sandstorm. Doesn't really matter what he does. He goes for Swords Dance, which is a weird choice on my Dragon Dance. Obviously, -1 Night Slash isn't going to do a lot, so it doesn't really matter. Again, as I found out, he's Night Slash, Ice Shard, and I think Low Kick is the third move he said he was. So it's not like he had a good move to hit me with here anyway. Night Slash has a high crit rate, though, so he could have at least tried for that. And then in comes his last, which is Infernape, which, this is when I remember, yes, his last is Scarf Infernape, which is faster than +1 Gyarados. That said, he runs Close Combat, Hidden Power Ice, U-Turn, and Fire Blast, which means he doesn't actually have a move to hit Gyarados anyway, and even if he, like, he'd have to have Thunder Punch in order to hit Gyara anyway, at which point, like, I can go into Scissor and just click U-Turn, which does a ton of damage to Infernape, or I can just and if he switches out obviously into Hippo, it doesn't help him at all, and because he'd be choice locked into it. And then once I get enough damage on Nape, which U-turn should do enough. Like, I can just one-shot it with Bullet Punch from Scissor anyway. But he doesn't have Thunder Punch. He goes for Fire Blast, which is his best play to hope for a burn. I actually get the crit, which doesn't matter there. Fire Blast is his best play because if he gets the burn, I don't think he'd live. Even +1 burned probably still would kill him. But, I mean, in the off chance that he does, like, let's say it puts him at, like, the optimal number to put him at, which would be, like, 30-something%. So that his next one is in Blaze, plus I'm at, like, you know, I'd be at 60% there. I still don't think he would have killed. But it is also the move that covers any switch I could go into. It would cover Scissor, Hippo, and Breloom. So it was the right choice to make there. It's just he didn't have a good one to make anyway. This is the actual meanest turn in the entire game. I Waterfall him knowing it's not going to kill because he's max defense. Takes him down to 9%. He doesn't wake up. And I'm sorry, not this. This is the meanest turn. I go for Taunt. I was like, you lost. I know he doesn't have any moves other than Earthquake to hit me anyway, and I know he loses with what I have left anyway, but I just went for Taunt because I was like, yo, I won. I'm taunting you now. I also knew, I called it. I called that he was going to wake up right then and there. That was like hardcore prediction again, just knowing exactly when he was going to wake up. That was really mean, and I shouldn't have done it. There was no point. So, poor Glue, he got 4-0'd. The thing about this game is that Glue had his ways to win, but he was sort of on the back foot and playing a little bit too predictably because of it. Like when you're on tilt, when you're under pressure, you have a tendency to make moves that can be very obvious. And I don't mean Glue specifically. I'm not talking to you specifically. I'm talking about anyone who's playing. There's a tendency to make moves that are really obvious and really, I don't want to say bad because they're not necessarily bad. They'd be good if they worked. But the problem is it requires your opponent who's at an advantage to make a mistake. There was no reason for me to switch out Breloom on the Roserade because I didn't really need it at that point. I put Hippo to sleep. I dealt a huge amount of damage to Roserade. I successfully kept rocks from ever getting up, basically. There was almost no chance that Hippo was ever going to come in on my team again. So I didn't need to make that mistake. But he needed me to make that mistake, and I understood that. It was sort of the same thing with the Starmie. Because he stayed in and took 2, he was at a disadvantage. And because of that, I knew he was going to have to switch to something that could take a Psychic. A Steel type, a Dark type, something like that. I didn't know that he had Empoleon. If he had gone to Empoleon on that double switch, it still would have been fine. U-turn breaks the sub. He would have, it would have been U-turn on what was likely agility, or actually was likely sub. Because he doesn't want to agility and then just have me click superpower or anything like that. But I knew he was going to switch out, so I just went into, my best switch for Steel types. Very few Steel types deal with Scissor with the exception of Heatran, but as far as I know, Glue doesn't have a team that has Heatran on it. I might be wrong about that. I was just making a call out that he was going to go into something that wanted to pursuit trap me. Things like that. My mistake there would have been staying in. Because again, I understood that he needed it to switch out. I understood that he needed to keep, he wanted to keep Starmie alive. He wanted to have him on that, it realistically, it could, recover up on, Hippowdon or something like that, which unfortunately Hippowdon never came out again. Both of us really never brought back in Hippowdon once it was asleep. It was just sort of a throwaway mon. Those are plays you make when you sort of have to hope that your opponent is going to make a mistake. And I just took advantage of that. That's really all there is to it. It's mean, and I didn't need to do it, and I shouldn't have done it to Glue, because, you know, Glue's a friend from the Discord. There's no reason to be that mean to Glue. There's no reason to bully Glugia like this. But I was just, like I said, I just kind of played. I kind of was in a bad mood, and I played far too seriously against someone who didn't necessarily deserve it. But it did sort of make for a good game, at least from my end. And something to upload. The other thing is, I didn't actually mean to like save this replay. You'll see, like, I won and I left. But he was still in the room. So I rejoined the room and I was talking to him, or no, he was still in the room. For the battle, but I was talking to him in PMs on actual Showdown, and I wanted to check something. Like, I went back to rewatch the battle just to see what turn something happened, but instead of clicking instant replay, I clicked upload and share replay, which just, there's no way to cancel that once you've done it, so I just had saved the replay. Because again, like, this isn't, like, I don't know, this is both of us knowing, you know, each other's teams, which on the one hand, I actually feel like that's both good and bad. It's sort of like the team preview thing, but yeah, that was just, I don't know, that was just a battle. I don't want to sort of undersell Glugia here. He did beat me like 2 games in a row before this. He lost to Snowcloak Mamoswine. Yeah, I mean, obviously I was upset because a bunch of hacks were happening, but he did still win. Like, he is definitely someone who is capable of beating me. It's just, this was me trying as hard as possible against an opponent who wasn't, and that just seems kind of mean. Yeah, if you stayed for the whole video, sorry, Glue. Again, just sorry. But yeah, so that's just, you know, that's Gen 4. Hacks like that happens. Gen 4 is kind of a hacksy metagame in general. Thanks, Jirachi. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I don't know, maybe I'll upload another Gen 7 replay or something, or like a live play. I've had some good Gen 7 matches recently. I had like 3 games against Stall in a row where it was like 13 turns of me just trying to force my opponent into a situation that I specifically wanted, getting it, and then instantly winning. Like, that was great. If Maggie's in the comments, he'll tell you there was a game he was watching where literally, like, I threw out 2 Mons. I made a bunch of weird double switches and stuff like that, all just specifically so I could get one Pokemon in against one specific other Pokemon, and then I got it, and then I won. Like, that's just it. That's what happened. I won immediately right there. But yeah, so, I don't know. Maybe I'll even upload Gen 8. Who knows? And I'll talk about why I hate it so much. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Pink Reaper, signing out.